Good morning, traders. Today is Thursday, October 20th. My name is Charles, and this is the Pirate Traders live stream. All right, well, let's just take a second to step back here and observe that the market is clearly, on a bigger picture, in a form of balance, right? I mean, just overall, we can just see, looking at the structure here, the market is working its way up and down inside of a range, just trying to figure out where it wants to go next. I just thought that was an interesting perspective when I opened up this morning all zoomed out like this and thought, really on the bigger picture, the market is just kind of rolling up and down in the same range, just exploring price, waiting for a bigger decision to be made to break one way or another. All right, so let's dive into what we're looking at here in the market today. Yesterday, we broke the uptrend that we had, the momentum that we had to the upside, with value being higher 2 days in a row, with value being overlapping to lower yesterday. So that tells us that the momentum is gone, the momentum to the upside. And so then there's two ways to balance off that momentum, to balance off that excess. We can do it with price, or we can do it with time, where we just go sideways. And today will tell us which of those two we're doing. Same thing I mentioned yesterday, we are still dancing right on top of that really important trend line on the daily as well. So if the market can find support today and start to head back up, that would be a good strong entry for swing traders to go higher. But if we break back below, same as yesterday, if we break below this trend line and we stay below there, that's a big swing trade to go lower. So the fact that we're balancing the way we are yesterday and in the overnight last night actually makes a lot of sense, right? The market is in a very pivotal area. Whichever way it breaks from here, it's likely to be a pretty big move. So it's taking its time before it makes a decision. So the main focus here today is going to be the overnight range. If we head up and we break the overnight high, that would be bullish to me, that we're looking to go higher and that this balance is going to break out to the upside. If we head down and we get below the overnight low, same thing to the downside, right? I think we're likely to get new sellers and continuation lower if we can get below that overnight low. Now, inside the overnight range, which is also inside yesterday's range, it's going to be really, really difficult to pick areas where the market is going to reverse. We will likely just get more chop. So it'll randomly push down, find somewhere it likes, come back up, find somewhere it likes, come back down, come back up, come back down, go back up, come back. It'll do one of those dances this morning until it can get enough momentum to finally break the overnight range one way or another. And so I'll just be focused on that chop in the middle and trying to figure out who's winning, the buyers or the sellers, so that by the time we get to a better location to know bigger picture what's going to happen, that is either looking above the overnight range, finding support and getting continuation, or looking above the overnight range and failing and pulling back in, or the opposite down here on the lower end. Whichever one of those two things happens, that will give us a much better trading opportunity than trying to trade inside the chop. Even though it's a very large range, it'll be very tricky to know when to get in and when to get out. So be cautious this morning, and let's let the market tell us when it's ready to break one way or another, and then look to catch that move. Of course, if you're a scalper, today could well be a scalper's paradise. We may just chop up and down in a very tight range. Opening in a chop zone. We'll chop it up. All right, market is open. Overnight inventory is just slightly net short, but not really. All right, looks like we're heading up to repair those weak references we left behind at 37.09. Will repairing that weak reference be all the market needs to pull back down through the opening price once again? A little boop boop. I guess not. We'll come back for you later, weak reference. Good morning to Ryan, John Lash, Scooball, The Shaw, Philip, Dan, Jan, Ederson, Knapp, T-Wark, Butcher, Jeremy, Caffeine, Fighter Pilot, Pavel, N, Super, Mosh, RK Leon, JMO, T-Wark, RK, J Trader, Novice Trader, Andrew M, David V, and Hal R, and Fletch. Welcome, welcome. Get ready for some chop. And says, let's smash the like button so we can get Charles's sentiment right out the gate. I mean, I'll just tell you it's a chop zone. But yes, please smash that like button. Invictus, don't you dare. You're playing with fire. Michael, after the news this morning, I thought we might get a downtrend. Yep. Unless it's what people wanted. It's tough to guess how people are going to react to the news. If it makes them excited, they might feel bullish. Ooh, Mark, thank you so much for reminding me. Guys, Black Swan, we got less than a week. The book club is next Wednesday. So if you have not dug into the book yet, you got to get after it. It's going to be quite a read to get through this weekend. But I suspect it's going to be a really great conversation. So jump into the Black Swan if you want to join us at book club next Wednesday. Jay, I bet even the Cliff's Notes is probably pretty dense. Okay. So in the game of trying to interpret chop, what could it mean? What's going on? Again, this is all just guessing. When we're stuck in a chop zone like this, you just don't know. But I would say two things have just jumped out and caught my attention. First off, we did not test this weak reference. That's a when what should happens doesn't. It should have been pretty easy to poke up there and at least repair that in a chop zone. So that's a little tiny bit bearish. Just a little bit. And then we have this perfect taper from the high. You know, just beautiful textbook perfect taper. And that also just worked as resistance once again. So that's just a little bit bearish. Still too early to get bearish, but just starting to see some signals. Now let's see what they do with the support. Peter says, I'm still learning TPO, but am I correct in saying there's a void between 36.75 and 36.50? A void? I sure hope not. $75 and $50. No, sir. There's no gaps there. Not sure what you're seeing. Christopher, what are the key prices for the day? Like I said, I'm playing the two-way auction, right? To me, what's going on right now, what's been happening over the last few days, the market has been balancing. It's been going nowhere, just passing the time. Just letting the time pass while they go nowhere so that they can make a decision about where they want to go. The simplest way to define that, in my mind, would be looking at this trend line on the daily right here and saying whichever way we break away from this trend line, whether we get continuation higher or we fail and we pull back in and head towards the opposite end, whichever one of those two things happens is going to be a very big deal. And it's going to be a very big move for the market. So what I think we see happening here is the market participants are trying to decide. It's like a game of tug of war. The buyers tried to break it out, and the sellers were like, nope, we're going to pull you back in. And then the buyers are like, nope, we're not going to let that happen. We're pulling it back out. So there's a game of tug of war happening right now. And they're trying to decide, do they want to take it higher or do they want to take it lower? And I think there's a lot of opportunity to make money off of these moves once that decision is made. The only real levels, air quote, that will give me an idea of which direction it's going to go is when we either break the overnight high up at about 37.30 or the overnight low down at about 36.77. Okay? So in between there, who knows, right? They can just keep playing tug of war, keep pulling the market back and forth. But when we get to that overnight high or that overnight low, a decision will be made. The market will either break out or it'll fail and pull back in, or it'll break lower or it'll fail and pull back up. So that is the key areas I'm watching. And in the middle, I let the short-term traders just pick each other's pockets. Because it's a chop zone, and they're chopping it up. Okay, so once again, the market was able to get back through the halfback. We should now be able to go up and repair these weak references. If this resistance here holds, if this taper holds, that is bearish. It means the sellers are starting to build momentum here. And of course, the A period low is weak because they stopped exactly at a weak reference from yesterday. So they got a magnet now pulling on them. Scooball says, NQ, more bullish. Let's take a look. Yeah, I would describe NQ exactly the same as the ES. Completely neutral inside the overnight range. Any larger move. You could almost look at yesterday's low as the low to pay attention to, and then the overnight high. If they break below yesterday's low, look, do we get resistance there? If so, continuation lower. And same thing with the overnight high. But in the middle, it's just a chop zone, and they're going to chop it up. Just like they did in the overnight. Might be one of those days we got to wait a few hours to get a good signal. We're at 99 likes. And a bitch ain't one. Hit me. Thank you, guys. You'll be shocked to find that it's a chop zone. All right, well, take away my potentially bearish argument. They were able to come back up, so it is still just good old-fashioned chop. Two-sided trade. So we're looking for resistance just above there at about 37.11. Market to pull back down towards the halfback. All right, there's the repair. Now we're looking for the resistance. Fletch, today I watched a video, good vid, with Peter Reznicek, commentary on market profile charts. Would you agree with one thing he said, which was a poor higher low is the strongest market profile signal that exists? The strongest market profile signal that exists. Kind of. I mean, maybe. I don't know. That's a tough question to answer. It requires that there's such a nuance to it. It requires being able to recognize when they're going to get repaired and when they're not. And then there are other things, like I would say a look above and fail or a look below and fail is a much more potent signal. But that's not really particularly a market profile signal. That's just a two-way auction thing. Also, gap and goes, probably more potent and higher probability of success. I used to say backfilling single prints was a higher probability than repairing a poor reference, but not anymore. Those days are long gone. All right, so we got some resistance. Market's coming back to test that half back, 37.01. Do we find support? Wow, we chop it up. Nunez. Charles, do you know any options prop trading companies? No, I do not. I will also just say, if you look up like real prop firms, not like Top Step type of stuff, but actual real prop firms, if you look them up nowadays, they are only hiring quants. You got to be a mathematician or a computer programmer to get a job at one of those places these days. All right, well, we didn't have to test the halfback. That's a little bit bullish. So we still got tons of resistance up here. Next resistance is around 37.16. Moshe asks, could I show examples or show insights from Bookmap as a confirmation or not of what's happening in the profiles? I don't have any like crystal, strong examples I could give right now. As I said yesterday, to me, I've not yet gotten good enough at reading Bookmap that it really has any value to me when the market is chopping around like this. When there's just tons and tons of volume popping up and disappearing every second above and below, and the price is kind of sporadically dancing, and you have the same number of stops getting stopped above and stops getting stopped below, the same number of icebergs above, same number of icebergs below. It's like, I can't really get anything from this. But when we get to a key breakout point, then I'll look for some insights. Right now, I'm just focused on the ticks and the internals. Can we start to build some momentum? Can we keep these ticks above the zero line? During the chop, that's all it is. When you're in a zone like this, it's just all you're asking yourself is who's winning? The buyers and the sellers. It's tug of war, and I just want to know which side is winning so that when we get up here, I know, do I want to go for the breakout trade or do I want to go for the look above and fail trade? If I think the buyers are doing a really great job, I'm not going to be looking for the short for a look above and fail. I'm going to want to join them on the breakout when it comes back down and finds support. and vice versa. If I think, ooh, these buyers, it's all short covering, they're not really bringing in the momentum, I don't trust them that they're going to be able to break out here, well, then I'm not waiting to test that support. I'm looking to get short right away because I think they're going to look above and fail. So all I'm doing in the chop is trying to give myself insights ahead of time so I know how to play the opportunity when it comes. And I don't find Bookmap helps with that until we get up there. All right, buyers appear to be running out of steam here. We got good taper once again. So looking for a pullback to find some support. First potential support is going to be 37.11 and then 37.04. $211 people hanging out. Welcome, 200 people. Happy to have you. Sorry, there's nothing more I can tell you right now. The market's just kind of grinding around. But we're glad you stopped by. All right, so we just found support at 37.11. Now we're heading back up towards the high. We created a poor high, which increases the odds that the market is going to push away from this level and then come back to repair it. So this that we're experiencing right now is the push away. Once we repair that poor high, the initial balance will be to the upside, which is a little bit bullish. Okay, the high remains poor. We got someone putting their little iceberg order there, holding it down. There we go. All right, so now the initial balance is to the upside. That is a little bit bullish to see. We're looking for resistance around 24. At this point, we'd like to see them hold the momentum in the ticks, keep those ticks above the zero line and trending higher. Have you ever thought about playing music? Yeah, we've taken that. We've taken vote on that before. No bueno. All right, so now the buyers are starting to push the value area It's right up against the value area high of yesterday. If they're able to push that value area above yesterday's high, that is another bullish signal, increasing the odds they'll be able to get a breakout above the overnight. All right, NQ is above the overnight high. That is bullish. Capital B. So you're now looking for that level to become support. You're looking for 11,220 to become support, for continuation to head up and test yesterday's high up at 11,287. And then same thing again there. You're looking for the market to push above, come back down and turn that into support. But this is bullish. ES as well, heading up to test that overnight high. So once again, if we're able to get above 3730 here, come back down and find support, it should be a pretty easy move to head up towards the next major node, right? If we're not going to break below this node here, we're probably heading up towards this one up here. So if we can find support at the overnight high, we can look for continuation higher here today. No doubt about it. Here you go. We got a low volume node in need of backfilling, kind of a perfect place for it. So if we don't need to come back down, if we build in enough support in here that we don't have to come back and bring in some extra volume here, that is a when what should happens doesn't, which is bullish. Or if we do pull down to backfill this low volume node, if that's all we got to do and then the support steps in, that is also very bullish. All right, well, I'm bullish. It's a breakout. is a breakout. So the next target is testing yesterday's high, looking to repair the poor high we left behind at 37.41. And then monitoring for continuation from there. All right, so we didn't have enough juice to repair the poor high from yesterday yet. We're pulling back down to that overnight high to look for new buyers. Do we get support here at 37.30? All right, moment of truth for the buyers here. They held the support the last time. Will it hold again? They do not want a big red tick. They want to hold these ticks and hold this momentum. Cortman, do you mean me? Me for prime minister? I don't even understand how their legal system works. I don't even get it. Would not be a good candidate for that. Okay, well now the B period high is considered weak because it stopped one tick from yesterday's high. There's the repair. So now we're getting some short covering. Some of the people that were just trying to hold the market down here getting squeezed out. So the next question is, can we start to build support above yesterday's high? Can we bring in new buyers? Or is it just the shorts covering up here? New buyers would be bullish for continuation further. Also, the new high is also weak. Support at yesterday's high, 37.41, increases the odds that we're heading up to test this area up here, right around the previous highs, to see if we can find new buyers up there for continuation. So support at yesterday's high would be very bullish. Okay, we've now repaired that weak reference, so we've turned off all the magnets that were pulling price higher. Now let's see if we bring in new buyers up here. Come on, buyers, step into the market, push it up. Okay, so we got two more low volume nodes in need of backfilling here right at the yesterday's high. It's a good area to find support. Can they do it? Can we look at the NQ? We absolutely can. Ooh, man, NQ's going. It's already up in that major node. Okay, so this is where the NQ should start to run out of steam. Starting at about 11,330 up to, I'd call it like 11,357. It will take a lot of grinding to get through this area here. But once it does, it's bullish for continuation higher. But I do suspect they'll need to pull back down to yesterday's high and look for support as well. I don't know if they already did. It looks like they already did, but they might need to do it again to get through all this. It's a bullish. NQ, same as ES. They got to keep those ticks pumping now. The ticks are telling us with this momentum, slowly making higher lows and higher highs. It's telling us that the buyers have been slowly stepping in, taking over the market, taking charge. So if they're going to stay in charge, they got to keep that going. If we get a big red tick, that's a sign the momentum is over. Looks like we backfilled one of those low volume nodes, but there's still one left. Looking for support there. Man, just dancing right on top of that low volume node. Come on, market. Back. There we go. All right, so now we're looking for support here. Got to get those ticks back above the zero line. All right, so not being able to hold yesterday's high, it's not bearish at all, but it's just a signal that is less bullish, right? It's a sign that we don't quite have as much momentum as we hoped. So now we're looking for support in here above the overnight high. But if we lose that as well, we're going to have that permanent big red tick, and that will be a sign the momentum is over. So I only remain bullish as long as we're above the overnight high. If we start to pull back down into there, this becomes one big look above and fail, and things get bearish very quick. But as of now, the buyers are still in control. Just not quite as strong as we'd hoped. But let's see if they can slap those ticks back up. MQ, what's up with the 1,000, negative 1,000 lines on the tick chart? That's just generally, it's not like a super hardcore signal, but that's just a general signal that the market is either overbought or oversold down there. You don't often spend much time below negative 1,000 or above positive 1,000 on the ticks. So it just tells you short term, you probably need a little bit of a pullback. All right, so we saved the ticks. They're back above the zero line, and we got price back above yesterday's high. Do we have the buyers now to turn into support? Or, dun, 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 does previous support become resistance? All right, I'm going to stick with you for just a minute here because I want to see how the market handles yesterday's high before I bounce up out of here. All right, that's twice now that the high from yesterday did not hold. That is our bullish signal for the market to go higher if it does. So what kind of a signal is it if it doesn't? If what should happen doesn't happen, it is often the other signal. So I would say that is less bullish, that we did not find support there. So at this point, my focus is on the overnight high. Can we find support at 37.30? Can we put these ticks back up above the zero line? If not, if we still have red ticks and we push back through 37.30, I see it as a look above and fail, and we're heading back down towards the opening price. First potential support on that move would be the halfback and the base of the B period single prints, 37.19. With that, I will bid you farewell. I'm going to go hang out with the cool kids. You could be a cool kid too. There's a link in the description to join the brigade. It literally only costs $10. $10. And then for a whole month, you get to hang out all day, every day. I think it's pretty good. But with that, I will say goodbye. And I will see you all here tomorrow morning. Thank you very much. I forgot what I'm supposed to say about the anchor. Don't lift the anchor, weigh the anchor. Hoist the mainsail. Brigade out.